Yo, what's up? This is my first YouTube video, so if you like it, let me know what you think. My name is SergioForty5, and my first video is going to be about why do we idolize people that we don't really even know, and how do they actually add value to our lives, or how don't they add value to our lives? And what I mean by this, or who I'm referencing, would be like any kind of famous people. Think about country music singers, actors, actresses, hip-hop artists, rock stars, football, baseball, basketball players, any kind of professional sports. And a good example for me to kind of reference would be like football. And the reason why is that I pretty much grew up playing football. I started when I was 4 or 5 years old on a flag football team. Next year I was at tackle. My dad coached the tackle football. My dad coached the team, and along with one of his friends, a good friend of ours. And it just makes sense to me because if you look at college football, NFL football, I remember coming home pretty much every day after school, after football practice, after track practice, or whatever I was doing. It was all geared towards staying in shape for football or being in better shape for football, right? I'd come home, I'd watch College Football Life, I'd watch NFL Total Access, just anything football related. And as I got older and I finally matured, it hit me that these people aren't really adding any value to my life. And this is what I mean. If we look at football players like Tom Brady, right? And this is not a shot at Tom Brady. I actually like Tom Brady. He's my second favorite football player. But he's arguably either the greatest or the second greatest quarterback, or even really football player that's ever played NFL football. And he's been to 8 Super Bowls, won 5, been a 4-time Super Bowl MVP. But the thing that gets me is that a lot of really, really, really big football fans know how many passing yards, passing touchdowns. They just know his stats a lot better than they even know like their spouse's birthday or even their own anniversary date, right? Which is crazy to me. I get it, and I'm not saying they don't add any value to the community, because a lot of these guys probably do help out in the community. In fact, a lot of them do help out in the community, and they donate to charities. They do all these great things for people. But you hear these people, they get up there on like a press conference or an interview, and they talk about it's all for the fans and all these things. Well, kind of true, because without the fans, then they wouldn't be able to do what they do. Or at least they wouldn't be able to play at such a high level or play at all without the salary that's provided basically by the fans. And I'm talking about jersey sales or ticket sales or just anything like that, right? There's a lot of people who will buy season tickets or season ticket holders for NFL football teams or college football teams, but they live in a crappy neighborhood, you know? And the reason that doesn't make any sense to me is because, do you know this person? Do they pay your bills? Do you hang out with them? Are they your brother or your sister or your father or anybody close to you? Probably not. And the vast majority of people idolize these people, and they're all about them, but they don't know anything about the people around them. Or if they do, it's not as big because they're not famous, right? Which doesn't make any sense to me, because I typically will consider the people that I know to be my heroes. So we're talking about people like my dad, who never gave up on me whenever I was in a lot of trouble growing up, or my mom, or someone like this guy I've known for 10 years now. I met him when I was 14. Thomas Who, right? Who's a rapper that's from where I'm from. Different side of the city, but he's from where I'm from, and he's really bigger than a rapper. If you ever know the guy, you meet the guy, whatever, you'll know that he helps out in the community. His music is pretty pure, pretty real, if you want to talk about hip-hop, right? Pretty pure hip-hop. And when you hear it, it does move you, right? And a lot of music does. So music can actually add value to your life, and I won't dispute that. But I actually know this guy. This guy, I remember I met him when I was 14 years old. I wanted to be a rapper, pretty much for the rest of my life at that point. And I was pretty good, right? I met this guy, and he was like, yo, he heard me rap, and he was like, yo, this kid's got potential. And so anyway, we exchanged contact information. We hung out for like a few hours rapping and talking about rap and music, and he invited me to his show. Well, he's 10 years older than me, so he's about 24 at the time. And my mom was like, I went home, I told my mom, and she was like, you're not going to a rap show, whatever. People get hurt at those things, whatever, right? And just looking out for the best interests of me. However, one thing that stuck out to me was like the first conversation that we actually had. I remember he encouraged me to do so much more than rap, talking about like reading books versus watching TV. And now I really don't even watch TV anymore. Talking about, he was like, man, we can talk about rap if you want to, but we can talk about anything. And, I'm 14 at the time. And I'm like, well, like, what do you mean anything? And he's like, well, we can talk about school. We can talk about girls. We can talk about reading books. We can talk about anything. We can talk about rap if you want to. And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. And that stuck out to me. So even to this day, I don't really watch much TV. I do check out YouTube. And then going back to the sports thing, there's a few sports channels that I do actually enjoy. But they're not like big, like the ones you see on TV and stuff like that. Shout out to like RJ Young or Flimlo Raps, right? But taught me to, or basically told me and just let me do it for myself, right? But reading books and constantly educating yourself is going to add so much more value to your life, right? Because knowledge is key, than watching TV, right? Because psychology shows, when I was in college, I studied some psychology, show that like when people watch TV, right, any kind of TV show, oftentimes they become subconsciously or without even knowing, they start emulating the things that they see on TV and becoming what they see on TV, whether it be like music videos. I remember watching those on MTV, MTV2, whenever I was younger, when that was still like a real thing, and stuff like that, versus reading books, right? Education is power, and you don't necessarily always get education from school. You go to a library, you visit a library, there's so many different books that you can read about, so many different topics that you can learn about, right? Or different fields of study or whatever, right? And that stuck out to me because reading books, it improves your vocab, or if you hear a word you've never heard before, you read books and it uses that word in there that you heard previously, and you're like, man, I didn't even know what that meant. So you probably looked it up, like, what does that mean? But then when you read the books, right, it shows you how to use those words in a sentence or whenever you're speaking, right? Which adds value to your life. It makes you more intelligent. It gives you more words to express yourself. You're probably less angry because you have more words to express yourself. And that was huge to me, right? And yeah, I mean, it just makes sense. Those types of things add value to your life. So I don't necessarily think that famous people on a consistent basis really add value to your life. Going back to football players, yeah, you may have met Jason Witten or Tom Brady or whatever, but do you really know them, right? And there's a reason that football players are great football players like Tom Brady are as great as they are because they're constantly working at their craft. But we as people constantly want to know their stats or what they're doing, right? When you could be applying that focus or that attention in another area of focus, something that you're passionate about, something that you're good at or want to be good at, right? Perfect practice makes perfect, right? And find something that you want to be really good at, have that craft, develop that craft, and be the best you can be. But Instead, a lot of times as people or as society, we look at these other people, again, like football players, professional or collegiate, it really doesn't matter, and we idolize them. And for younger people, you know, and not to be offensive, I understand. But for grown adults, like, find something you want to be good at, make it happen. But in order to make it happen, you have to apply a lot of time, a lot of focus, a lot of energy, dedication, discipline. And those are the types of things that will add value to your life, and not even just your life, but the people around you. And that's more important to me than following, you know, a football player, a hip hop artist, a country music singer, actor, actress, whoever he or she may be. You know, at least whenever you find something that you're talented at, or you continuously work at to get better at and improve at, that you're not only benefiting yourself and adding value to yourself, but probably you're adding value to everyone else around you. But anyway, so for Thomas Who, the rapper I mentioned that I know, I'm going to put the link to a music video he dropped not too long ago in the description. I will also put another guy that I know, his song in the description. So go check them out. If you like them, give them a like, give them a subscribe, get them some views. And that's it for me. So peace. Later.